Now, this is the idea of the man box, right? Like this idea that men can't express their feelings. Can you just describe what this is that is
Yeah.
like holding men back from just being honest and authentic and vulnerable?
Yeah, I judge. The story I make up is that we as men and boys have been lied to most of our life. When we show up coming out of our mother's womb, we come as this whole person with all these different emotions, fear, anger, sadness, joy, all of it. And over time, we are taught by societal conditioning that it's not okay. It's not okay to be sad. It's not okay to be afraid. It is okay to be angry because that's a masculine emotion, right? Like it's manly to be angry, but it's not manly to be fearful or sad. And it's something that we're conditioned to believe in. And there's times I also am a one-on-one coach, and there's guys, and I try to bring them back to that place of the whole being with a whole range of emotional expression. And believe me, I'm not an expert at this. I still sometimes struggle trying to allow these feelings to come through in its most authentic expression, but I'm getting much better at it in my middle age. I just turned 50 last May. But the guys will say to me, I don't know how to do that. And I say, actually, you do. You used to be an expert at this when you were 2 years old. When your needs weren't getting met, you'd get afraid, you get sad, you get angry. Over time, you have forgotten how to do it, but you do know how to do it. And the problem with the man box is we get ostracized. So it makes sense of why we shut down and only live within the man box. And the man box is simply, it's a way to box us in to what it means to be a man. So I'm only how much money I have in my bank account, or I'm only how many athletic trophies are in my trophy cabinet, or I am how many romantic partners I have. I am only how tough I am. And that's really not a good way of being a human being. We are humans that have a whole range of emotions, and most of us just squash it down, and we have since forgotten how to tap back into that. And so, yeah, the spaces that I create, either with a one-on-one coaching or with Men Living, which is the group that I'm an executive director of, we try to create these spaces to be able to hold some of these different versions of what it means to be a man. And it's a wonderful thing. It's something really gratifying. So
It sounds like it's incredibly needed. That's, at least for me, when I was given the cultural message like, oh, you're, as a female, you're not allowed to feel anger, it was like this like expressions of, I end up making all these paintings that were all these expressions of like aggression and exploring it and things like that, because it just to have it not have a whole range of emotions not be expressed as a human, it's like toxic to your body to have that happen. I personally couldn't, I had to express that in some way, but like I know from a lot of people it just, emotions are sublimated, and then it's like, how does it come out then?
yeah, and it's something that we push down. And the same goes for you, Hunter. Obviously are talking about from the female perspective, and you guys were trained and conditioned to be people pleasers and not rock the boat, and us guys were invited to get our needs met and be angry and all that, but we weren't allowed to have that gentle, softer side of us. And sometimes when I talk on podcasts or talk to groups of people, this is not all about men and boys. This is about women and girls and non-binary. Obviously, our vision of Men Living is a world of healthy, connected men. And our mission is to create spaces where men can connect, heal, and thrive. And I spend a lot of my time trying to support the men out there. And there's a lot of times, because I have 3 daughters, there's a lot of times where people be like, what about the women out there? And I'm like, we need to help the women and the girls as well. Like, we're all taught these lies. And as somebody who has the father of 3 daughters, I'm trying to get as many men out there that have a little bit more maturity, so that if my daughters end up wanting to be with a man as a romantic partner, they have the biggest pool of guys out there that know how to act from a place of mature masculinity, which is a term I use quite often. And that's just being able to experience a whole range of emotions, being responsible, not blaming, not being victims, and everything else. So that's my hope. And that's what I'm trying to do.